Hey, what's up, investors? My name is Devin Moreno, and today I'm going to be going over this house, this renovation where I actually bought this house. It's a row home in Baltimore for $130,000. I actually pushed the price down a little bit from $140 where it originally was at, and I'm expecting about $30K in reno for this house. I'm trying to do a bare minimum renovation here. It's not bare minimum, right? $30,000 is actually quite substantial, but a lot of that price is actually me building a bathroom that I technically didn't need to build, and a lot of it is me adding AC that I technically didn't need to add. So if you take those two away, the bathroom's gonna cost me about $8,000 to $10,000, and the AC unit's gonna cost me about $38,000. Well, now we've shrunk this now down to a $15,000 reno where it's practically cosmetic. We're only really messing with the floors and stuff. There are some challenges with that, and I want to go into how exactly I address that. I'll give you kind of a cost breakdown of exactly what my expectation is. Walking in, we see a lot of typical stuff about Baltimore. We're seeing lead paint, hardwood floors here. All right, so what did I choose to do about this? With the lead, unless you want a very expensive day of demo and repairing everything, I would leave the lead here if you're trying to do cosmetic. I know in all my videos I say, oh my God, take the lead out, that's what you prefer. But if there's way too much lead and your budget is not allowing it, then you're gonna have to leave it in. So instead, we try to leave this in, just repaint it, because all you need to do is have everything painted, no chipping paint. So when the lead inspector comes, they're gonna classify it as lead safe. So you have lead free, lead safe, limited lead free. We are going for the lowest tier where there is acknowledging there is lead in the property, but it's safe because we have painted over all of it. Everything's gotta be painted, regardless of whether it's lead or not. I'm gonna leave all of this in here. The other thing normally I wanna take away is glass. Now, in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and leave the glass here just because I think it might add a nice aesthetic, but there was a door that had glass pane. So these are the doors that were there and they had glass. I actually took those away. So we are gonna try to reduce glass because if you can't fix it, then that becomes a problem, right? So all of this trash here was built up throughout the duration of renovating this. A lot of this is gonna cost, I'd say a load like this, probably about $500 to $800 for most people. I think for me, it's probably gonna cost a little bit less than that. It's kind of tough to say. Most of them go by how many tons it is, except it's a little bit difficult for you to measure out exactly the weight because they're the ones telling you. So just expect about 700 bucks, right? For hardwood floors, I'm actually going to just sand and refinish this if I can. Go ahead and leave this alone because that's actually a nice look and I don't have to like redo new flooring or anything. Now with the kitchen, I decided to go with a different approach here. I decided to tile all of this. Originally, this was a laminate floor. I could have done a vinyl flooring, but if I did that, then I would have had more of a wood-looking vinyl flooring. If I did that wood-looking vinyl flooring, then how cheap do you think it would look next to my actual real stained and sanded finished hardwood floors? Probably pretty different looking. It would look fairly obviously cheap. So therefore, I'm instead transitioning to tile. So I'm tiling all of this. It's actually gonna be a cheap alternative to doing things. It's not actually that expensive to tile over, laying new vinyl. Vinyl is actually pretty expensive. We're gonna do that all throughout the kitchen here. We actually ripped out this kitchen. This actually drove the cost up. We could have probably saved this kitchen. This may have been a mistake to actually rip this kitchen out. As you're seeing here from the photos, the kitchen was actually in pretty good condition. This is one thing that I really stressed on. So why did I actually rip the kitchen out if all the cabinets were fine and new? The reason why is because the comps I was going for all had new white shaker cabinets. These ones are the old oak original cabinets. In order to really push the appraisal toward that direction, I decided to make the decision to go ahead and eliminate that. We'll see if that actually benefited me. I expect a kitchen to be removed like this to cost about $5,000. I'm not moving electrical, so I'm safe there. I'm not moving plumbing, I'm safe there. So what is the actual cost? It's cabinets at about $300 a cabinet, then you have to install them. The cabinets, I'm keeping the exact same design as the picture you just saw. Then I'm gonna do granite countertops. Granite for this much space is about $800. You might say, Devin, well, if you're trying to save money, why not laminate? Because when you only have this much granite, it's not that much, it's just 800 bucks. Laminate would cost me about 200, 250, and then you have to install it. I probably saved like 400 bucks. Why not get that much closer to my comps, which also have granite countertops? So that was a hard decision, but I went ahead and made it. So now we actually look at where the fridge once was. It was actually on the way in, coming into the kitchen. The problem with that is it was actually really awkwardly placed. It was a light switch. And the other problem with that was we wanted to make an opening. We wanted to make as much of open concept as possible without going open concept. Why would we not want to do that? Well, one, there's a ductwork here, but two, there's electric running up and down here. All right, I've said in previous videos that if you really want to save money, you can actually just leave this pillar here and you can create this. So what we did was ended up creating a bar height counter. By the time this is actually extended out, you're gonna see it's bar height for stools, or chairs actually, I'm sorry, that's for chairs. So now we have kind of that bar that will sit there, it kind of feeds into this whole open concept. We carved out this space here, perfect. Now you walk directly into the dining room. So everywhere where you're seeing Durock is where the tile is gonna be. So essentially we have run it right into the bathroom. And because we ran it into the bathroom, we actually need to kind of go all the way out. So we're actually gonna bleed into this living room here. The Durock is there for the tile, so that way the tile doesn't crack. It's a surface that doesn't kind of expand and contract with different seasons and such. So there's a lot of reasons you want to use that. We actually have the fridge going here. I actually originally wanted another little wall here so you could pocket the fridge in. Unfortunately, the contractor misunderstood me and didn't realize I actually wanted that pocket. So we didn't do it. Whatever, at this point, we're just gonna save the money and just put the fridge here. To have like a side of the fridge facing the kitchen, not ideal. But, you know, in a lower end row home like this, it's also not a big deal, right? The only thing as far as lead that I would actually get rid of are these old doors. So right now we're keeping this here and just kind of as privacy and barring and whatever, because we can easily what I did was I drilled screws into the door so that way no one could get in. But we're probably gonna go ahead and eliminate this door only and put in a new modern door at the end of the project. So that's one of the changes we will be making. And then here we actually had a full bath in here. There actually was literally a full bath in the kitchen. I'm not even kidding. We actually considered keeping it. What ended up happening was the floor and such was so worn from moisture and damage from the outside that we couldn't keep it. The reason why originally we were gonna go ahead and keep it is because it existed. So, okay, it exists. We might as well just see if it qualifies for extra value on the comps. It shouldn't. Well, that's because it's not common to have a full bath next to a kitchen, but also generally full bathrooms lose value when they're not on the same floor as a bedroom. So generally you want beds and baths on the same level as each other. So may have not added value, but it was there. Now that we've already destroyed the dang thing, we're just gonna go ahead and put a half bath, keep it normal looking. So we're gonna try to keep as many of these fixtures as possible. So you notice it's already nickel, so we can just clean this up. Boom, adding to just keeping the same kind of look. You're gonna see some sconce lighting here on the wall. Once again, we're gonna keep that. We just kept the hookups for it. In fact, they kept them over there. So thank God they saved those. We're actually trying to save as much as we can. The only thing we're getting rid of is the stove, but we are keeping the microwave, keeping the dishwasher. We're just gonna clean that back up. And then boom, we are done. With the glass doors, as you saw, they actually came out of this right here. I just told them pull it out, and now, great, it's an open walkway. The question is, after we have this tile extend all the way to here, what do we do with the rest of the space? They actually said we need to pretty much rebuild a lot of this hardwood. Honestly, what I really would like to do is just extend the tile well into this room and make this all one tiled space. But I'm curious what you think about that. Have you ever seen that tile in the dining room? I'm curious if any of you have seen that. I'm probably gonna go and look up pictures, see what that would look like, but ultimately we might end up just repairing the hardwood. What I wanna do next, I'm gonna actually ignore the upstairs because we did nothing but just paint the floor. It's a 4-bed, 1-bath upstairs. Now, believe it or not, you can actually sometimes get higher comps by doing as a 3-bed, 2-bath upstairs instead, giving the master bedroom its own bath. We decided not to do that because we wanted to keep it cheap. We actually instead built a bathroom downstairs and that way made that a living area. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what exactly that looks like and how much it cost me. All right, so this is the only other room where we made a lot of design decisions. There was already a bedroom down here and it had proper ceiling height. It has an egress here. And so it had all the components here. Technically, a lot of people might be saying, well, don't you need a closet? You actually don't, but we could build one. That's not expensive. But what we didn't have, we had a half bath here that was going, we had drain lines coming down. We actually decided to make this into a full bath. Originally, I was gonna go for a cheaper look than this. My contractor kind of decided to make a judgment call. He made a more expensive sort of look. Not exactly ideal. Sometimes your contractors might think ahead of you, and that goes into contractor incentives. What I did was I paid my contractor, not by the hour per se, but essentially by the hour. That's really a bad idea if you want them to be thinking along the lines of, hey, do the cheapest. Instead, now he's thinking of higher quality and then not realizing the mission. So you need to align your contractor's incentives to be just like yours. So instead, what I should have done was paid him a bonus if the project stayed under a certain budget. Now, I actually did include a bonus system into this, but it quickly got beat out as he didn't kind of understand some of the decisions he was making was going to continue to increase costs. So this leads into other factors, and this is where I'm kind of learning how to manage my own crew. Should we be considering penalty systems if it goes even further over budget? Maybe his pay goes down, maybe, something like that, anyone the foreman of the project. Now, if you happen to not have your own crew, then this is actually fairly easy because most of the time the contractor is giving you a bid. And when they give you that bid, they're gonna wanna stay within that bid, and they're often gonna cheapen it as much as possible, cheap up what they do as much as possible to make sure they're profiting the most. So it's normally not that big of a deal in that sense. When you have your own crew, just know that can come into play. But let's go ahead and see what he did. He went ahead and reframed all this, not a problem. We're gonna have drywall here, and actually you're gonna notice we have this old wooden paneling. You're gonna see this is pretty popular in Baltimore. So we have drywall again, and then we keep looking at this. Look, we got more drywall and then back to wooden paneling. And then as we keep going, we have what would probably be more drywall. We're actually gonna go ahead and keep that mix and match look and see what we can do with it. We're probably gonna end up either painting all of the walls gray, or just simply the walls here, we're gonna make them white. So the ceiling is white, and then the drywall will be white, and it'll kind of be this sort of brown-white mix, and then carpet all over the place. So carpet on this floor, why carpet in a basement? Well, that's because the ground isn't flat. So I can't put vinyl, I can't do anything. Also, we're trying to do this cheaply. With $200 a room for carpet, sounds a lot better than what would probably be easily, for this room alone, 600 bucks. Upstairs, we're gonna be doing carpet. Down here, we're gonna be doing carpet. It won't lower the value because most of the time, your comps that you're looking at are flips. Well, what do most people do on flips? They often try to cheap out a little bit and save money. So they'll use carpet on their bedrooms. Great, we can use carpet too. We come into here, they made a full bath. So how much does this bathroom cost? All right, so this is a little tricky because I have my own plumber. All right, but how much should it cost you? I would say a full bathroom for an investor, okay, a seasoned investor, and this is key because homeowners are gonna pay way more than this. For a seasoned investor, a bathroom like this should cost about $10,000, where you gotta dig into it, we got a shower pan, we got a tile, free frame, do all this stuff. For me, I would say it's gonna come about that when we're talking about adding up the man hours into this, adding up the materials. It probably, for me, might cost about $8,000, maybe less, maybe 7. Maybe the contractor benefits about 3 grand if they charge 10 grand. I'd expect for a bathroom like this, most of you get a price more around like 14, 16, probably about $16,000 for a bathroom that they had to dig out. So that's probably the price I would expect. Pan and all of that. So the pan, rather than doing a custom tile, would probably save me about, I would say between labor and all that, probably about $400 or $500. So that saves money to do a pan instead. So if you want to save, do pans. Then you have the actual shower itself. We're going to tile it to the ceiling because it really doesn't matter because we're using 24 by 12 large tiles. That allows us to have less labor, easier to tile up and make it work because you don't have to do the grout, as much grout, all of that. So this is going to save us money. That's what I recommend you guys use if you want to save money as well. Other decisions I made to save as much money as possible, obviously staying within the existing drain lines, but realistically that's it. If you want to try to cheapen out your bathroom, larger tile. Obviously it works better if you already have a full gut because now you can make the surfaces level. Because the problem with large tile is if your surface is not level, it's very easy to notice like as it starts to turn and bend if it's not like even, right? That's it for this basement bedroom. I mean, but if any of you have any ideas about how you would have done it, I'm interested in your thoughts. Comment below, let me know. If you like videos like this, show you how I'm saving money here in Baltimore City and maybe some of my lower end rentals, let me know in the comment section below as well, because I'm trying to give you more like little tips and hacks that I do. I will talk to you all very soon.